I wasn't really happy with the study. It wasn't really for me. And I said to myself, if Ethiopia at the time was as prosperous, peaceful, and progressive, what would I be doing with myself? And it was very easy. It was always there, which is storytelling. Ethiopia, we are very proud in Ethiopia, we ourselves, and it's a rich culture. But when I went abroad to study in the US and Norway, the image people on the outside world have of it isn't quite accurate. And there aren't many films also out of Ethiopia and even Africa as a whole. So I said, I want to engage with the world in a very realistic way, in a magical way, as was my childhood. And so I'll tell a story via cinema. The motivation was my own childhood, because it's essentially the themes are very much my own life, because I had to leave my beloved grandmother and home and a happy childhood behind because of the political crisis and the war and the poverty in Ethiopia at the time in the 80s. I had to leave this and was taken away from the whole world I knew by myself, and so this separation caused it was really traumatic for me as a child, and I still carry it with me, and so this is a story about a child who loses the whole world and everyone he loves. We saw about 3,500 kids, and it was the main lead actor. It was a several try. It wasn't like love at first sight. I had to try him. I had to go through several tests, and I wrote like a criteria. Like there were about 10 things he had to be, and as a combination of being open and communicative, able to love and receive love, but not too happy of a kid, but not too sad or damaged. So it was a very delicate kind of. And of course very intelligent and all that. So it had to be a combination of all these things. And so the kid we chose ultimately had all this after like 4 tries. And the girl, the second leading actor, Qedist, she was instant. When I saw her, there was and the same with the kid and the same with the girl, no one came close to them in any shape or form. So it was a bit scary because if they couldn't do the film, it would have been totally another film. And so it was a real process. It took me 6 months. It was a lot of work, a lot of stress, a lot of fear and anxiety, because Ethiopia cinema, it's not really, there isn't so much of it. For example, the character Sion is, for me, represents, like the female characters, for example. Mama is like the old Ethiopia, the time of the emperor. And she's dignified, and she was wealthy by her own right and proud. And then Azeb represents the contemporary Ethiopia, which is really struggling, still holding on to tradition. And then Sion is, I hope, to be the future, which is a more educated Ethiopia, but that still respects its identity and culture. And so that's a part of it. And another is that we Ethiopians are being affected by climate change, and we're more vulnerable, like most people in developing countries. So gender equality, environment, it's all there. I won't say too much about it. You don't write a script or make a film thinking it's going to get into Cannes or anything. You do something, you try to be honest and to yourself first, And so to be recognized on this world's biggest platform for me, and then also from Ethiopia, which is not extremely well known, so it's really an honor. I'm really, really grateful for ACP. This film wouldn't have been made without it, because think about it, it's a film with animals and children in Africa and Ethiopia, which is, with those mountains, and so much of it is rural, and we shot in rural location, and half the background cast are actual village people. So, or the majority, I'm sorry, the majority of the background and some of the neighbor scenes are all the actual village people, the elderly. So ACP basically helped make this film happen. That was like the most fundamental institute to fund this film, and so this film is because of ACP.
The director Yared set up a company in Ethiopia with Ama Ampadu, who is the producer of the film with me, so this company, Slum Kid Films, is in Addis Abeba, and it's almost, I don't have the exact number, but it's, I think around 60% of the money has been spent in Ethiopia. We did in France the post-production. We had to do some rental for the camera. We did the sound post-production in Germany, and we hired some French and German crew, but as little as possible, which meant 8 people on the set. So a huge majority of the people working on the film, of course, were Ethiopian, and some Kenyan also so there is a great impact. I mean, both for local economy, because we didn't shoot in Addis Abeba, we shot in the north of the country, in Gondar. So we stayed there for 2 months, 2 months of shooting and almost 1.5 months of preparation there, and which means hotels, of course, restaurants, everything, and of course we hired a lot of people, including extras, all the actors, etc. So no, I think it's good. What is important is that Ethiopia is a country where you have not a lot of films. I mean, we are in the last 10 years, they are like, regarding the international standards of cinema, I don't speak about the domestic market, but we saw almost 2 or 3 films. I mean, Haile Gerima and Difred 2 years ago, and now Lamb, so it's very few films. And what is important is also that Slum Kids now has, I hope, will have a good money to be able to develop more projects and maybe produce not only Yared but also young talents in the country. I mean, of course, that's the project.